Hey everyone, welcome to the Vanderbloemen Leadership Podcast, where we help you build, run, and keep great teams. Thanks for being here. Let's dive in.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to the Vanderbloemen Leadership Podcast. I am thrilled that you're here. I have this fabulous job where I get to introduce you to friends of mine and hear what they're doing. And today I've already learned things. I thought we were having Pat Lencioni on the podcast today, but we're not. Sorry, we're having Pat Lencioni. I feel like if I'm being really honest, I should have like a glass of Chianti when I say it that way.
That's right.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm half
Welcome.
Italian.
Pat, welcome. Thanks for being with us today. Really appreciate you.
Great to be here, William.
Yeah, we've watched you from a distance for a long time. I'm an old Leadership Summit junkie, so way back in the Wayback Machine, I remember having a death of a meeting. I remember, dysfunctions of teams. Probably still ought to go read that again. But what's really caught our attention at our office right now is this working genius. We are a sucker for, there's an inventory, there's a personality
Yes.
profile. We'd take them all.
Me too.
See how good a job you're doing. I have millennials and Gen Zs working here, and you have replaced the Enneagram. How's that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons.
I won't tell your neighbor, Ian Crone. We can just leave him out of this, unsubscribing to this podcast. But yeah, it's a pretty big deal. And I wanted to talk to you about that. I want to hear, how things are. But I'm not going to assume that everybody knows your story. So I've been following your writing for a long time. But can you give us a little bit of a, hey, here's who Pat is and here's how we ended up where we are?
Wow. So let's see how to do this quickly. Got out of college, got a job as a management consultant, was amazed at how it was all about data and decision science, and they weren't addressing the human side of business. Decided that was really the problem in most of our clients. They didn't work well together. There was politics and confusion and dysfunction. And the company I worked at said, we don't get paid to do that. So fast forward a few years, I worked at a few more companies and really developed an understanding of what was going on in organizations. Started my own firm. Was going to be happy if we just helped local companies deal with executive team dysfunction and make their companies better. Somebody asked me to give a talk. Somebody asked me to write a book. I had a theory. One thing led to another, the grace of God. We never knew quite what was going to happen. And then, 14 books later and 28 years, here we are. And new things keep coming, Our firm has grown over the years and have worked with tons of companies. 4 years ago, we rededicated our company to move beyond organizational health to truth and human dignity. I'm a follower of Jesus, and we saw things going on in the world that seemed unhealthy, so we expanded our reach. I do most of my work with faith and companies around freedom and social health, but we still do work and make products for regular companies, and we have consultants around the world who use our stuff. I moved to Tennessee 9 months ago after 59 years in California, and that's the story.
So I think, was it 2.5 million people moved from California to Tennessee last month or something like that?
I would be surprised if it were that much, but that many people have left California in the last few years. That's certainly true. There's a lot. It's a crazy thing what's going on in society today. It's a whole new, there's a diaspora. And my company was like that too. We were headquartered in California since the beginning, and all of our employees worked there. We had no remote employees. And then Many of them couldn't afford to live there. Many of them wanted to move, and we kept on. And then my wife and I were like, what are we doing? And so now our headquarters are here in Franklin, Tennessee, and it's a different world. So we feel very blessed.
A little lower state income tax there.
Yes, and everybody goes, "That's why you moved, right?" And it's like, no, it is a helpful thing, but it's just the culture. It's just a very kind culture, and people know you, and you get to know them, and it's a different. Every day I experience it. It's just people are different. It's wonderful.
They're endlessly fascinating, aren't they?
Yeah, all people are, but some are a little kinder than others. So yeah.
Well, that's true. That's true. Well, it's been interesting to watch, for our executive search work is with organizations that are part of Team Jesus, however you want to say that, churches,
I like that.
schools, yeah, nonprofits, Chick-fil-A kind of things. And a lot of people that do that work, it was like I really started to understand fulfillment at work when I knew my why, right?
Yeah.
But I think, boy, right underneath that in the last 5 years, there's been but what about my where?
Right. Right.
And and there's a call to a geographic place. Now, everyone feels called to go pastor that church in Hawaii, I know, but like, oh, I get it. We did a search for a church in Bermuda on the beach. You'd be amazed. Jesus spoke to me in the shower today, told me I need to be. Yeah, I get all that, but there is a sense of where,
Yeah.
and we find that we're paying more and more attention to the where of a place and the where of a person to see if it fits. So I hope Tennessee is a great fit for you.
Well, it's interesting, William. I'll tell you. Um, I decided when I left, I said the only way I can stay in California is if I go into full-time ministry.
Mm,
Because what's happened in California is that there's such an indifference to faith. I mean, there's one thing to be opposed to it, but there's
right.
also an indifference. And my wife and I were like, okay, God, are you calling us to stay here and be in full time? I'm not a full-time minister, although we do a lot in the church world. And I just thought, I think it's okay to be someplace where there's people around. And here's the interesting thing, I'm Catholic. And so I'm in the Bible Belt, and it is a joy. There is just no sense of opposition. People are like, good on you. There's a Catholic church 3 blocks from me and 400 other churches 4 blocks away. It's amazing. And there's something going on in the world where people are like, if you love Jesus, let's all learn from each other.
Yeah,
And so I feel totally welcomed and part of the community here. So
that's
it's
great.
great.
Well, it's an exciting time. There's a big shift going on, I think, in a
Isn't
good way.
there?
Yeah.
Holy
Hey,
Spirit's moving.
now you can coach me. So most of my staff is younger than I am, and ooh, we got to do this working genius. We got to do this working genius. So
Oh, cool.
I did the whole thing. I should have done the podcast with your poster behind us with all of our people mapped onto the,
Oh, that's
wheel.
so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
This
So
is
I
going
can
to be
see
so
where
much fun.
Yeah, I can see where everybody is. And then, of course, we're nerdy, so we cross-referenced it with Enneagram and with DISC, and just to see where the overlaps and all that
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
But
yeah.
those who don't know it, first of all, what is the working genius and what made you want to study it? I mean, books are a pain to write. I just released one yesterday, and it's like, I haven't ever been in labor and delivery, but
Well, you know what's funny? I think the process of writing a book is about 9 months if you add it all together. So they seem to go together. It's not as painful, my wife will tell you, but so first of all, that's so great. Congratulations that yours. I didn't realize it just got released yesterday. That's why I don't have it. That's why I don't have it.
there you
But
go.
so this came about like all of my work by accident, which means I'm working on things and I'm noticing things going on. And of course, nothing's an accident. God blesses us with different things. And especially this is about that very thing. So 5 years ago, I was was 4 months into it. So in California, that meant they were still like under lock and key everywhere. But we snuck back to work, and in our little company. But I was doing most of my work on Zoom. And one day, I was. I know I had been feeling frustrated in my own job for 20 years. Like I loved going to work. I loved my company. I loved the people I worked with. And yet I'd go to work excited to be there. And I would find myself getting frustrated. And I didn't know why. So one day, 5 years ago, I'm sitting there and I'm doing this podcast. I mean, not podcast, a webinar for a bunch of priests. Actually, I work with a lot of ministers and priests and stuff, and I'm teaching these priests how to have better teams and run their parishes better. And I'm loving that. And then I have to get on another Zoom call with the people that organized it. And I had to give them some tough feedback and push them to do better and work harder. And I hate that. I was so bummed out. And then I went to another meeting where I got to talk about a new podcast idea and I was all excited. And the woman next to me said, Pat, why are you like this? And I said, what do you mean? She goes, you go from really excited to really bummed out to really excited. And I thought, oh, I've been doing that for 20 years. What's wrong with me? And I decided I wanted to figure it out. And so with a whiteboard and a pen and just sitting there thinking about it, by the grace of God, I kind of realized that there was like 6 different kinds of work that are needed in every project you do at home, at work, and anything. Starting a new company, running a project, whatever you do, there's 6 kinds of work that are required. And I was getting dragged into one that I really didn't like almost every day. And that's why I was getting frustrated. So I thought, hey, I solved a problem for me. A consultant saw it, shared it with the CEO. The CEO said, oh my gosh, this changes everything. People started using it, and we said, well, there's something universal here. So we built an assessment, just really grinded on an assessment, tested it, and released it, and it just started to take off. And because, and here's what I think the thing is, William, because I love them all. I love Myers-Briggs and DISC and all of them. But there was none that actually translated to the very tasks of going about doing work on the ground or in the day-to-day. Like, and I love, like, and you can have a Myers-Briggs type or a DISC type or all the other different things, and it tells you a lot, but we were like, but what about organizing a project? What about we have to do this work? We're going into a meeting. What kind of a meeting is it? And who's going to love this meeting and who's going to hate this meeting and who's going to try to hijack this meeting because they don't like doing this kind of stuff? And that's what this was. So when people say, how is it different? We had not found any that really told us how to figure out what kind of day-to-day work gives you joy and energy and what kind of work robs you of joy and energy. And we found that teams like yours will take it and look at their team map and just go, oh yeah, no wonder you're good at that. And we struggle when I have to do that. And maybe we could switch jobs a little bit and we could take different responsibilities. We decided that job descriptions were going to become a lot less important. As soon as you knew somebody's working genius type, you could think like, well, regardless of what you think your job description is, why don't we reorganize this a little so you can do what you're great at and what you love, and she can do what she's great at and loves, and you both can swap work, and 1 + 1 becomes 5 when you do that. So that's a long description of how it came about and kind of what it is.
So what are those types of work that give you energy and sap you? What is your descriptor?
Mine is, so of the 6, mine is called invention and discernment. So and I've been this way since I was a kid, of course, because these are God-given. I love when somebody says, hey, we have no idea how to solve this problem. We need a new idea. I'm like, oh, please don't give me any more context than that. Let me try. Like, I love coming up with new things out of nothing. So I can't help it. I've done it my whole life. I do it even when it's not necessary. My wife and my team will say, hey, we don't need your invention right now. So it's not that I only have to do that. Sometimes I have to do stuff I don't like, but when I get to invent things, I'm really happy. And then discernment I love, which is basically curating things and evaluating things using your gut and multivariable analysis and pattern recognition, not in a linear way. Very much instinctual, looking at a situation and going, I think the answer is over there. And I do this with my clients, William. I've done this for years. I go into with executive teams at big companies, little companies, churches, all kinds of companies, organizations. And I'll be in the meeting with them and I'll do, I think the problem is right here. And they'll go, why do you say that? And I don't know. I think I've seen this movie before, and we'll talk about it. And they'll go, that's totally right. And it's not it's not magic. That's how God taught me how to think. I look at multiple things and I net it out. So those are the 2 things I like to do. The thing I was getting asked to do all the time was galvanizing, which is a totally different genius, which is every day I was coming to work, they're like, remind us, push us, inspire us, scold us, push us some more. And I don't love doing that.
Yeah.
And when you're the leader of an organization, a CEO, a pastor, a principal of a school, you think you're supposed to be good at everything, and nobody is. So, and oftentimes the way we're raised, we try to get good at the things we hate, thinking that's what's going to make me a great leader. And that's just not the right thing to, hey, outsource what you're not good at. Hire people that are better than you at the stuff that you don't love. And it makes everybody happier.
What have you learned? Working Genius has been out for how long now? It's been a while, right?
Almost 5 years.
Yeah. What have you learned? I mean, people say, what's the most frustrating part of a book launch? And I say, well, last book launch, I did 108 podcasts before launch, and by the time I'd been interviewed 108 times, I wanted to rewrite the book. I feel like I know it better now. There's stuff I want in there. I want to throw that away. Like, there's always something that once I have the idea, but then when you get into it, you go, oh, now that's surprising. I didn't think it. What has been that set of surprises for you since the birth of Working Genius to now?
Well, here's an interesting thing, and this was a little bit painful, but we actually released the assessment before the book, like 2 years. Because the assessment came out, I thought, this is good. And we were like, we have to write a book. And I said, no, I want people to start using this now.
Yeah.
So we were tweaking as we went, and I got to write the book about a year and a half into it. But even still, we learn things every day. So we have a podcast, the Working Genius podcast, where we get to explore new learning about that. So it's still pretty fresh. The book explains it, but we're finding new applications of it and nuances that we hadn't seen before. So in this case, and I totally know what you mean, William, in this case, we get to keep tweaking it, which is good. But other people, they ask me that about my other books, what's changed? And I think that I'm not very good at looking back. I'm like, I don't know, I'm on to the next thing.
Right. Uh-oh.
Now, I want to know what are your working geniuses?
Same.
You are. So many podcasters and people who do this kind of work, consultants and people that like to communicate this, they're the same as me. And it's not one of the most likely types or common types, but that combination likes thinking about things in real time, evaluating things, curating things. This guest will be good. I'll know what questions to ask. So it's very common. And just so everybody out there knows, so there's these 6 types of genius. 2 of them are your working genius. That's the pairing that gives you joy and energy. You and I are what's called the discriminating ideator.
Right.
We love to come up with ideas, but we love to evaluate them while we're doing it.
Right? Trust but verify.
Yeah. Now, so those are our working geniuses. That's like having one of these Yeti mug things that you pour coffee into and screw it on the lid and it stays hot all day. You can hold your energy doing your working geniuses forever.
Right.
People will go, hey, Pat, you have to be on a podcast today. I'm like, well, this is party. This is what I did.
This is the fun part.
Right. Now, there's 2 others that they don't necessarily give you joy and energy, but they don't kill you. That's called your working competencies, the middle ones, the yellow ones on there. That's like having this coffee cup. You pour it in and put one of those plastic lids on it. It's going to stay warm for a while. You can handle that. Your working frustrations, the 2 that you don't want to be doing, is a coffee cup where you pour coffee and there's a hole in the bottom of it. It just drips out. And that's the kind of work that robs us of joy and energy. Well, if people don't know the nature of the work that robs them of joy and energy or that feeds them or what's in the middle, how can they possibly be as successful? And you're in recruiting. We love this in the world of recruiting.
Sure.
People will say, we need a new vice president of sales. And then you go, well, has this person done sales before? What's their resume look like? It's like, no. We think you should go back to the people and go, what kind of a VP of sales? Is it relationship sales? Is there a sales model that's been in place for years and they just need to execute it? Or is it somebody that's going to have to really think creatively and come up with new ways to approach the market? Is it a product that's been around? Because different working genius and Myers-Briggs and other things, but will determine whether they're successful or not. But so many people don't consider that. And,
that's right.
And William, I know this rings true to you too. We had so many pastors write to us and say, this has changed how I look at myself as a pastor. One guy said, for years, I was a pastor for 20 years and I was always wondered if I was a fraud, like an imposter. And I said, why? And he goes, because I couldn't write a sermon to save my life. I mean, I grinded on sermons. It took me so long and it was painful. And boy, my other friends who are pastors, they can go for a walk in the woods and come up with a 3-part series for the next 3 months, And he goes, then I took Working Genius and I realized I don't have wonder and invention, which are the kind of things that allow you to just kind of ponder and come up with new ideas. And I said, so how do you feel about serving the hungry and the poor or counseling people with grief? And he goes, oh, I love that part of my job. I said, that's the kind of pastor you are. Yeah. So you should get help with writing your sermons or bring in other people to help you do that. Because something, there's pastors out there that love to give sermons and that don't like to do counseling. And they feel like a fraud because they're like, well, how come I don't like counseling people? It's like, because no 2 pastors, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And if we don't understand 100%. Who we are, that's why I love the title of your book. I can't wait to read it. It's like, work in the way that you're wired.
Yeah.
And God wires us differently.
Well, and the puzzle I was trying to help offer some solution to in the book, Work How You're Wired, was it's staggering how many people hate their job. Not I'm disengaged slightly but like hate their job. And then you go to managers, and I mean, you can find any study you want on the internet, but I think the body of evidence is clear. Managers say, my team on a really good day is about average. So like, if you just want to be nasty and blunt about it, most people hate their job and they're not any good at it.
Yeah.
So like, how do you fix that? And I love that Working Genius is solving some of that, and maybe find a lane that you're supposed to work how you're wired is doing that. But I think one thing I've learned over the years with these tools is they're incredibly helpful to me as a leader, as I build my team and try and find balance and complement. As a young leader, you're Working Genius wasn't out when I was young. We did just get sound in movies back then, so that was kind of cool. But we were using some other. It was something kind of like a disc, and so we all got a feather for our lead letter. You're an eagle or you're a peacock or
A dolphin.
right, and everybody go to all, birds of a feather flock together. And I looked up, and we had about 100 staff, something like that. And I think I'd hired 20 of them since I'd been there, and all 20 of them were standing next to me with the same feather as me.
Right. Oh, and it's not because you were closed-minded or biased. It was because we tend to flock toward people that are like us. They think like us. They understand us.
I think that's right. I think hiring is a venture into the unknown.
Yeah. That's why this term diversity lives at this level.
That's right.
And it's like, hire people who think differently than you. Hire people that love doing work that you hate. Hire people that are good at stuff that you suck at.
Yeah, took me forever. To realize it.
Yeah.
When I started this, I think I was 30. Was I 37 when we started this company? And then I knew everything when I was 30, and then 37, I didn't know as much. And since I didn't know as much, we took these inventories. Well, now, I mean, I'm a 7 on the Enneagram. I'm on to the next thing like you. Let's discern if it's good, and then let's move on. But we have incredibly insane obsessive compulsive records on everything we've done. And that's not because I love doing it. It's because I finally woke up and hired some people that love doing what I hate doing. Talk about what a leader that's sitting there right now with a team can learn about how to round out the team using Working Genius.
Well, and this is one of those things. That's why if people can take the Working Genius and they get a team map, and it shows and you look at oh my gosh, we have nobody in that category. And right away, they're like, no wonder whenever that kind of situation comes up, we struggle. And no wonder why we gravitate toward that kind of work. And this assessment takes 12 minutes to fill out. And within a half hour, people look at it and they're like, okay, I think we know what to do. I was working with the CEO of a team once, and this was a multi-billion-dollar tech company. They hadn't come up with a new product in 15 years. And they were really bothered by it. They were selling their legacy products, and they were like, how come we're never in the magic quadrant on the analyst charts that says that we have a good new thing? They were really bummed. And so finally, when this came out, they took it, and they had nobody with wonder, which is the highest genius, where people are sitting up there pondering possibilities. Okay, nobody on the executive team, 12 executives, nobody had wonder. And only one person had invention, which is the next one, which is people would come up with new ideas. So nobody on the executive team liked to sit around and think about possibilities and come up with new ideas. They were all about hitting the numbers and working and grinding and making things efficient. So they looked at this and they said, what are we going to do? And the CEO looked at the one guy that had invention on the team, only one guy, was their lawyer. He was their chief legal counsel. They said the only guy that's even good at coming up with new ideas is our lawyer, which we're not sure we really like that he's good at that. Do you know what they did? They gave him responsibility for new technology acquisition.
Wow.
And he was like, I'm a lawyer. And they're like, yeah, but you're good at this. He goes, I love this kind of stuff. 2 years later, I looked back. He was no longer in legal at all. He was doing all technology. See, we tend to describe people by where they went to school and what they studied and their job title. But then you look at their working genius types and suddenly you go, I don't care what your job title is. You're good at this. And they're like, I love doing that. Like when I figured out I didn't have galvanizing as a genius and I didn't like coming to work every day and reminding people and rallying the troops. I have to do it sometimes because I'm the leader and we all have to do all of this stuff sometimes. But every day I was getting dragged into something I didn't like and it was burning me out. And I found a guy on my team who loves galvanizing. And I said, you're the new chief galvanizing officer. And he goes, well, I haven't been here long enough to do that. I said, no, it's not it's a gift God gave you. I want you to use your gift. And he goes, you mean you'd let me do that? I'm like, I want you to. Suddenly we're freeing people up in our organization to do the things that feed them. And it makes everybody happy. Now, here's the interesting thing though, William. So when we first discovered this, we thought it was mostly a productivity tool. We said, this is really going to change the productivity of teams because we work in organizations. But we were wrong. It is first and foremost a personal insight tool. There's people in the world that have been feeling guilt and shame about themselves for years. And when they finally figure out, they're like, oh, I have geniuses that the world didn't recognize because I didn't know. And the things I'm not good at, I'm not supposed to be good at. God didn't make me good at those. It allows them to reassess who they are and to stop beating themselves up for their things. I look back at my career and my first job out of college was supposed to be the best job in America and I failed at it. I spent 2 years grinding, never knew why, felt guilty, thought I was a fraud. 35 years later, we come up with this tool and I'm like, oh, I failed at that job because I should have never taken that job. They wanted me to do the very things I hate.
What was the job?
It was working at Bain & Company as a management consultant. So this was the highest paying job out of college. Everybody applied for the job. I, by the grace of God and some bad interviewing on the part of Bain, they hired me. And they said, you can make a lot of money, but it was all about two parts of working genius that I don't like, which is called enablement and tenacity, which is do it at whatever they tell you to do. Don't question it, just do it and do it perfectly. These are my working frustrations. Those are the two things I like least. But I didn't know that. And so every day I'd come to work and go, why am I struggling? It's easy for these people. I just must be dumb. I thought I was dumb and lazy. And everybody that knows me says, you're neither dumb nor lazy. I said, then how come I can't do what these people do? And when we discovered this, I was like, well, no wonder. If I had known this, I'd have said to them, hey, thank you for the job offer. I know it's a great job, but not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, somebody that you know of, Meg Whitman at HP and stuff, she was the partner on my case then, years ago. And she pulled me aside after 2 years and said, hey, Pat, you'd be a great partner. Because that's what I do. I love looking at the bigger picture. And she goes, but this job is not for you. And I said, I know it's not for me. I hate it. But I didn't know why. Now I know why.
And if people want to access, what's the quickest way to get to you or Working Genius or?
Well, if you go to workinggenius.com,
Oh, good.
workinggenius.com, it's everything you want to know about Working Genius is there. Free resources and everything else. And you could take it 12 minutes. It costs $25. Dave Ramsey's a good friend of mine. He's like, Pat, this is worth so much more than that. And I said, he goes, you should have charged twice as much for this. And we're like, we want. Good, David. Thank you. He's a friend, so I talk to him a lot.
Yeah.
But we want we even developed one for students because people were like, I want my high school student or my new college student to take it. And they couldn't answer the corporate questions as well. So we developed one for young people too, because man, once people get this, my wife felt guilty for years about the kind of mother she was. And when I did working, she goes, I've been working in my working frustrations for 20 years. Because she felt like, well, my friends are good at paying the bills and organizing the house and keeping everything running on time, and I'm not. And I'd say to her, why don't you outsource that, Laura? And she'd say, well, if my friends can do it, why can't I do it? And now when she saw the book, she was like, oh man, I should have outsourced those things years ago.
Do you think the Working Genius changes over time?
No. We think everybody we've talked to looks back at their early. Now, do people know what their working geniuses are when they're young? No, because we tend to get good at the things that we're rewarded for. Like I thought I pleased my parents and my coaches and my teachers and my bosses. So I did the things that they told me to do because that's how I got love. From the very earliest time, I wanted to do the things I do now. So we don't think it changes. We really think everybody we talk to about this, they look back in their early life and they go, oh yeah, I was always like that, just nobody knew it, so I never got recognized or encouraged to do it.
Interesting. Well, we could go on, but it's helped our team a ton, and a lot of our clients are using it now. It certainly helps. I mean, disclaimer, never hire somebody based on the results of an inventory. First of all, you might get sued. Secondly, you could be dead wrong.
Totally.
So having said, I mean, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. That's what David said in the Psalter, and that is just, you are a unique, you're a data set of one. So don't trust just that for hiring, but man, does it help seeing like, we got to get some people that are, I hired everybody like me because I like me.
You know, I love that. We're fearfully and wonderfully made, but we're not all made the same.
Exactly.
So, you know, we were at a conference recently together last week. I didn't see you though, but in my talk, I started by saying, hey, imagine somebody gave you a gift that they designed especially for you. I mean, they really thought about you, and it was this awesome gift, and they brought it by your house and you weren't there. And so somebody took it and put it in the closet and they never told you. Or imagine somebody told you, but you forgot to go open it. Or imagine you opened it and you never used it. Now imagine that was from God. It's like how he made you and you never discovered it.
Wow.
It's like, that's tragic. So find out what the things you love are and which you're probably naturally good at, and find out the things that you're not good at because you don't like it, or if you're good at it, you're doing it against the grain. And go to your manager and go to your spouse and your friends and go, hey, did you see this? And your manager is going to go, well, let's change up we had a guy, William, I thought it was in a church, but really early on went to do a performance review. And he sat down with his manager and his manager's manager, and he knew it was going to be ugly. He'd had a bad year. And he goes, I don't know what was going to happen. I was going to get demoted or fired or whatever else. He did the working genius the night before. He went in and he goes, before we get started, can you guys look at this? They looked at the report. It's pretty short. And they were like, well, no wonder you're doing so bad. This is a terrible job for you. He goes, I know. And they're like, so these are your strengths. Don't we have that other job opening? You'd be fantastic at this other job. He said, I got moved and promoted instead of demoted or fired because they found out what my gifts were and they could use them. So you're totally right that we shouldn't use it to hire. I think all of life is qualitative, not quantitative.
Right.
But I will tell you this, you're going to love this story, William. The lawyer that argued the case in front of the Texas Supreme Court, which was the case that established the precedent for not being able to use assessments in hiring. I worked with him and his team. And when he got done with the working genius, he said, I think this one actually works. He goes, this is explaining everything. So you can't use it in hiring like, take this and we'll only hire you for this. That would be dumb. Hire people for core values, hire people. But let me tell you, if you don't know what their working geniuses are, you're not going to know how to put them in the right seat on the bus.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Well, next time I'm going to show you our little wheel, and or maybe you come to Houston and you can
I would
see
love that. Let me ask you this. So what are your working frustrations? What are your two lowest ones, the red ones?
I think we're probably mirror images. I don't have it in front of me. I'm ignorant. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
but it has helped. And, you know, all of these, it's great if you find fulfillment, if you can rewrite job descriptions. But what I've found with every one of the personality inventories we've taken is it enables me to see my staff and know how to serve them better. And if I know how they're wired and what makes them happy and what doesn't, and I can take something off their plate and serve them through that knowledge, that's
isn't it great?
It's liberating. It's like having the teacher's edition to leading the team.
Exactly. It's like it's a what do they call that? Like a life hack. You know?
Yeah.
Saint Francis of Assisi said, seek to understand more than to be understood. And when you look at your team members now and you see them for the geniuses they have, boy, management becomes a ministry. You're like, hey, I want to make you realize God made you wonderfully, and I want to let you live in that. And you know what's amazing? And then when they have to do stuff that they hate, you can go, hey, Fred, Jan, I know you hate this part. And so I know this is going to be a grind these next 2 hours or whatever. I'm not expecting this to be your best thing in the world, but I need you to do it for the team. And that's enough for them to go, at least you know.
I can do that. You saw me.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
It's about seeing people. That's one of the most fundamental desires we have, is to be seen and understood.
Yep. Well, you've made a great contribution in that way, Pat, and I can't thank you enough for the work and for taking time to be with us. So,
Oh, I'm so glad. I can't wait to read your book.
yeah, we'll send you a
Can
copy.
you show it? Can you show the book?
Oh, sure. I mean, shamelessly.
Work how you are wired. I love it.
Yep. So, well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And hey, if you want the show notes or be kept up on who's coming on and who's not, just go to vanderpod.com and fill out your email address, and we'll send it to you right away. You can also go to vandercast.com. Pretty much anything Vander except Vanderpump is us. So I hope that helps you. And thanks again, Pat. We'll see you all again soon.
God bless.
Thanks again for joining us on the Vanderbloemen Leadership Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're looking for more leadership resources, you can find us at vanderbloemen.com and on socials at Vanderbloemen. We'll see you again next week, where we continue discussing how to build, run, and keep great teams.